Hello, this is Adam from Goaty Hook, The Party People, and many, many more, and you're listening to the Rumors Are True podcast. Bye.
Welcome, this is Jeremy Allen Gould, and I'm coming to you today to confirm between God and of man that the rumors you have all heard are true. I started this podcast to have a platform for the bands and artists that I've worked with in the past, as well as new musicians and artists that influenced myself and many others. The Rumors Are True podcast is an opportunity for the artists to tell their story their way. I'm still in the business of confirming rumors. I still love a good conversation, and I still freaking love music. So thanks again for joining me on this journey, and I hope you like what you hear. With that said, the rumors are definitely true.
Hey, welcome to this latest episode of the Rumors Are True podcast. My name is Jeremy, and today I welcome Jackson Mould. You know Jackson from the band Slick Shoes. Awesome conversation with Jackson. So honored to have him on this podcast to hear his perspective on his journey through music, as well as his upcoming future. So I hope you enjoy this latest episode with Jackson Mould. Jackson, what is up, my friend? Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. We've been trying to do this for a while, so I'm really excited. Finally, it's happened. Really awesome to hear your story. I'm looking forward to it, man. Super honored to have you on the podcast. And man, what's going on in your world currently? Tell me what's new.
As far as new, we're just finishing up the record. We just got vocals left. I've just been spending a lot of time at work and spending time with my family in the meantime.
That's awesome.
So yeah, not a whole lot new other than that.
Where are you living?
I live in Southern California, LA County area, Northern LA County.
Okay, very cool. I was just out in Costa Mesa.
All right.
In October.
Little south of me.
Yeah. Are you up by Riverside? Is that where you're near? Or?
No, we're in the Antelope Valley area.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Northern LA County.
I gotcha. That's awesome, man. We're keeping you busy, and obviously you said family, but
yeah, extremely busy.
That's awesome. I love that, man. Yeah, let's talk about growing up for you, Jackson. Kind of bring me through some of those records, some of those bands, some of those influences, maybe even some shows that kind of blew your mind and made you want to be in a band.
Yeah, shoot. From a young age, one of my earlier memories was my dad had a bootleg copy of Van Halen 1 on a reel-to-reel tape. Yeah. And I think I was probably I must have been around 3 years old when I first heard the intro to Van Halen 1, and I remember it terrified me. But as I got a little older, I just remembered the guitar sounds off of that record and subsequent Van Halen records and just loved the way that sounded. And that definitely made me want to play guitar like that. And then, awesome. Then growing up watching MTV, staying up for like Headbangers Ball, and obviously I liked the hard rock and heavy metal was pretty popular when I was younger. Mm-hmm. But I also grew up in a Christian household too, so there was a good stretch of time where I couldn't get my hands on all the records I wanted to. So I'd always, sneak listens to like old
Oh
Ozzy
yeah.
records or,
Oh yeah.
DNR one. And I think just not being able to hear some of those records added to the mystique
Sure.
of that hard rock genre. But then I got the okay to start listening to Stryper because they were a Christian band. And I think my first Stryper record was To Hell with the Devil. And I
It's a great
couldn't
record.
believe, oh man. And the way the guitars just sounded like freight trains to me. They were
Oh,
just
yeah.
chugging and super melodic. And I couldn't get enough of Stryper. And I think in some ways, there's in some of my lead playing or some of the notes I may pick, I don't do as good a job as those guitar players, but I definitely lean towards like dual guitar harmonies and kind of chuggy riffs. I just think they sound cool and it's fun to play.
Oh yeah. Totally.
So yeah, Van
What-
Halen, Randy Rhoads, Jakey Lee, Stryper, Iron Maiden. I love all that stuff.
What brought you into the punk rock world?
Well, it was kind of I would say in the early '90s, my gateway drug was kind of getting into some of the like K-rock type stuff. I was listening to like Ned's Atomic Dustbin, and
Mm-hmm.
I got turned on to like Minor Threat eventually, and I kind of took a nosedive, and not nosedive, but kind of dove into the deep end with some of the punk stuff. And then I heard No Effects Punk and Drublick. So
Great
let me
record.
back up a little bit. Prior to getting into some of the punk stuff, Joe and I were kind of like an alternative type band, Sonic Youth and stuff like that. But I'd also grown up kind of metal, and there was always that part of me that, liked all of these different genres. So when I heard Punk and Drublick and I heard the guitars and the fact that they had this total punk sound, yet the guitars were super riffy, but they were changing genres and tempos so quickly. I just started getting into pretty much anything like that. I remember getting into a band called Satanic Surfers,
I remember that
Mill
name.
and Colin. Yeah, Mill and Colin. I loved the first Propagandhi record was a huge record for me. Lagwagon, I love Lagwagon. And then Strung Out, which is sort of like a punk rock heavy metal hybrid. And that I went and saw Strung Out 3 or 4 times. I love that band. And so a lot of the early Fat Record stuff was a big influence for me because you could get away with some of the metal stuff, but you could still stay kind of artsy on some things. And it opened a lot of doors for just, you could almost put, anything in there, as long as you were playing your heart out and you meant it,
Totally.
So,
Was this all the punk rock stuff? Was it were you of age enough that you didn't have to sneak it around, or was this kind of still
no,
being snuck around?
No, I didn't have to sneak any of that around. In fact, the sneaking around the heavy metal pretty much ended around like 12 or 13. I finally got the okay to start listening to
That's
started
awesome.
with Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and all
When did you
kinds of
start
80s
playing
hard rock
guitar?
metal.
When did you start playing the guitar?
I want to say around 8, I got really interested in it and wanted to take lessons, but it wasn't until I was about 12 I was about 13 and a half, and I started working at a guitar store locally, and I started getting really valuable lessons from the guys at the guitar store. They kind of took me into their wing, gave me my first job, lent me my first really good guitar, and I started taking lessons from one of the guys there.
That's cool, man. Did you feel like you had a natural talent with it, or did you realize, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this?
Well, I don't know that I ever felt that it was like a natural talent because I had to work really hard at it. I mean, I didn't just pick it up and felt like I was any good at it. I spent a lot of time practicing, so sitting down with a metronome and trying to learn stuff. I mean, back then, there was no YouTube videos, obviously.
Yeah.
So I was buying guitar magazines and reading tabs and taking lessons and trying to figure out how to do stuff.
That's awesome.
So
I love that. You mentioned having an early band with Joe. More alternative. Kind of bring me into the beginning of Slick Shoes. Just bring me through that.
So the beginning of Slick Shoes, I think kind of started around the time I was working at that guitar store. Joe and I had a mutual friend. His name was Randy. I think Joe had taken a few drum lessons from him. I had heard Joe's name, and he was in another local band. And I'd actually seen his band play a few times, and I had started a band with a buddy of mine named Jonathan, and Kelly, who's my wife now, but she was somebody who sang in another local band. We started playing music together, and we needed a drummer, and Joe started playing drums for us. And that was kind of that first kind of like alternative kind of Sonic Youth-ish band. For lack of a better description, I mean, we weren't trying to do, just Sonic Youth, but, I had like the fuzz pedal and the whole deal. So, but anyway, as that band progressed and didn't necessarily work out, Joe and I eventually started a band together with Jonathan. I was singing at the time, found Jeremiah as bass player, and we started playing together. We enjoyed it. And eventually we recorded our first demo. It was pretty horrible. Joe was playing great and everything like that, but we were in our infancy,
trying to figure yourselves out.
Yeah, exactly. And so we ended up. I decided I didn't want to sing and play guitar anymore at the same time, and I wasn't a very good singer. So we found a singer who, actually, my wife, her younger brother, Ryan, was playing in a local backyard show with some friends of ours, and we heard him sing and asked him if he wanted to start singing for Slick Shoes. So we recorded our second demo, and I don't even know that we sent it directly to Tooth and Nail. I think we did, but we didn't copy it to the right A&R person at Tooth and Nail. And I think it ended up being like a buddy of ours got a hold of our demo and sent it in for us. And then we got a call from Bill Power at Tooth and Nail.
Wow. What was that like?
Oh, it was cool. We were very excited. And they offered to do an EP with us. I think they had just finished a compilation with Value Pack and Goaty Hook and a lot of other bands. And they're like, oh man, we just finished up this compilation. We wish we could have caught you earlier. So they let us do an EP. After we finished the EP, I think we finished the EP, I want to say right before MXPX went in the studio for Life in General.
Wow.
And so they sent us the same studio that they were going to be at or were at with Steve Kravac. I don't remember the exact timing.
For the EP?
Yeah.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah. And so we recorded the EP, I think it was like one day at West Beach with Steve. And that was a whole different experience for me as well. I'd never dealt with like an actual real producer in a real studio with real nice gear and things like that.
I showed up with huge bands at that point.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Was that intimidating?
Yeah. Well, Steve was a super nice guy. So I think I was just intimidated by the whole experience. I mean, Steve was super cool to us and helpful and guided us, with everything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was intimidating. I mean, you go into a pretty legendary studio where, well, again, Punk and Drublic was recorded there. Blink-182's first record. The Offspring was recorded at that studio. So we're going in there with, Bad Religion, So it's like, walking into the halls of incredible bands and it's just Slick Shoes in there. So I think, there was definitely, I was starstruck.
Did you have that moment where you were like, how did we get here?
I think I was too nervous to think about it that way. And if I did, I didn't necessarily, care how we got there. We were there now.
Yeah.
So, and, I was busy so when we got to the studio, to give you an idea, like I'm used to playing like Ibanez guitars at this time, which are super like fast, Floyd Rose guitars. And I also showed up with a Telecaster and Steve tells me, don't use the Ibanez, use the Telecaster, and plugs me straight into a Marshall Plexi. And I'm used to like tons of gain at this point. So we were trying to record the EP and I'm trying to navigate playing a Telecaster through a Plexi, which I'd never done before. Wow. But that was a good experience. Yeah. But it took me out of my comfort zone for sure.
Sure. What when you finally finished the EP and finally heard it done, what were your thoughts?
I thought it was cool. I was proud of what we had gotten accomplished in a short period of time. I think it was it was a really cool opportunity that we got from Tooth and Nail. And I mean, at the time, we probably only had 7 songs as a band. So we chose 4 songs, and that's that's what wound up on the EP. I think when I listen to it now, it's so hyper fast. I can't believe how fast that EP is.
I think Joe said the same thing. He's like, I don't know how I played that fast.
Yeah. It's incredibly fast. So,
yeah. It's youth, man. It's the youth.
Yeah, I guess so.
Dude, was Tooth and Nail stoked on it?
I think so, because they offered us a record deal after that where we got to do obviously we got to do Rusty, Burnout, and Wake Up Screaming.
Sure.
So I think they liked it.
Yeah.
So because they offered us,
Yeah, that makes sense.
More records. So yeah.
What look, I know you kind of mentioned it being fast, but and it sounds like you're kind of proud of it, but overall just looking back on it, is it something that you can listen to with ease, or is it something like, do you find yourself cringing at all?
Cringing is the wrong word. I mean, when I listen to that, I hear like 20-year-old Jackson. So, and I'm about to be 50, so I hear, but I don't know what I would have expected out of a 20-year-old me. So
totally,
I don't totally cringe on it. I mean, but it is what it is, I mean, we were younger, playing fast and learning how to write songs together. So
I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I loved how you guys were so young. I was like, wow, this is amazing that you guys are getting this opportunity. It's so cool. It was a great EP. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, did you wind up touring after this EP at all, or playing shows with like MXPX or anything like that?
I think if I remember correctly, I think we got to play one show with, I forget the venue. I think it was in Orange County with MXPX. I think Value Pack played at that show, and I want to say 90 Pound Wuss played at the show. So we got to play that show. And then after we got scheduled to go into the studio for Rusty, we actually got to open up for MXPX at the Rock Candy. That was in the Rock Candy, and I forgot where else. It's in Portland. La Luna, I think. And it was for their record release party, and the record release shows for
wow.
Yeah, for
Life in
sorry,
General.
I just got off work. So Life in General, yes.
Yeah, you're fine.
So yeah, then that was another whole cool experience getting to open for them. And I mean, they sounded amazing. It was cool watching them play. And I think we learned a lot by getting to play and watch MXPX and how they did things. And we were really fortunate.
That's awesome, man. Well, you mentioned Rusty, the record, the first full length. Kind of bring me through recording that and what that was like, kind of your thoughts on it. And,
sure.
Was that a different experience from the EP? And just kind of bring me through the recording of that.
Yeah, so Rusty, that was a totally different experience. On the way to the studio after we finished our second show with MXPX for that Life in General record release, my only guitar got stolen at the hotel. So the next day we're in the studio, and I had to, my father-in-law was nice enough, and he lent me money to get a guitar to play in the studio. So I started off on a new guitar in that studio. Was at the Razor's Edge, which was where a lot of the Fat Records bands had been recording, which is in this old San Francisco row house. It was super old, like old glass black glass doorknobs, and honestly kind of spooky. Cool, but kind of spooky.
Yeah. And
I think we were there for 2 weeks, and that was a cool experience. I believe the guy who produced it, his name was Adam. It was different than working with Steve. I think Steve was a little more hands-on with stuff, but they were both very good engineers and easy to work with. But again, with every album, you learn something a little different.
Sure.
At least from a guitar standpoint, what works and doesn't work on a record.
Why did you
how to keep your guitar in tune properly?
Yeah, no, totally. What was the thought process on this guy producing it as opposed to Steve Kravac again?
I don't think it was a conscious not working with Steve thing. I think it was more of just an opportunity that Tooth and Nail proposed to us that we could record at Razor's Edge. I think at the time a lot of bands were recording at Razor's Edge at the same time too, and I don't know what was behind Tooth and Nail offering that, but I think if anything, it was just another studio to try out.
Yeah.
But after we finished with Rusty, we still had to go back with Steve because we just needed the vocals weren't done. We need to touch up some guitars and that weren't finished correctly. And Steve ended up finishing and doing all the vocals on that record, if I remember correctly. And it was cool to get back to work with Steve too, because he knew us. We were a little more comfortable. I was more comfortable with Steve, and he just has a little bit more hands-on approach, which we need. I mean, at the time I needed a lot of hands-on. Because I wouldn't be able to tell you what a good guitar tone going to 2-inch tape sounds like.
Totally.
How to mic a guitar cabinet, things like that. So
was everything written when you guys went in?
Yes. I think we ended up making some changes to one song that became the song Rusty, which we did on the fly, like above the studio, just basically hammered it out real quick in a room together, and Joe just went in and tracked drums on it the next day. But all those songs were written.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you heard this full length completed? I'm sure the production was better just overall from the EP. So what were your thoughts? Were your minds blown?
Oh yeah. I again, just having the opportunity to make records was completely impressive. And, to hear an album with like cool sounding kick drum,
sure.
Just the overall sounds. I mean, it was we got to do a whole record. I mean, how lucky was I? So yeah, I know I was stoked that we got to do that record.
What are your thoughts on it, looking back on it?
I think there's a lot of songs that we still play live and we enjoy playing. There's some stuff on there that, I would probably, so you got to remember, I'm ultra critical of myself, not necessarily anybody else, but I can listen to a record and hear myself mess up, or now I would be like, I wouldn't have played that. Should have played something different there. So when I listen to the album, I hear Joe kicking butt. I hear Ryan singing great, Jeremiah. But then all I can hear is, oh man, I should have tuned there. That sounds a little off, or my timing. That's all I hear.
Give yourself some credit, dude.
Yeah, but that's just how I am. I focus on that. Yeah,
I get it. What was the touring like for this? And did this record do pretty well? I feel like it did.
I honestly don't know any numbers. But I do know, when we would play live, there was crowd response, and that was cool. I remember, I think we went on tour with Value Pack and Goaty Hook, and then I think we went on tour with Goaty Hook and Stavesaker, which was cool. And I think that was all in support of the Rusty album.
Yeah.
So I want to say it was a total of 8 weeks.
What was that like, seeing touring? The crowd singing your songs at this point? I mean, that's gotta feel amazing.
Oh yeah, it felt great. It was super flattering, and it was a lot of fun,
That's
so
awesome.
Yeah, no, it was really cool to see for the first time.
Very cool.
And then getting to play so much too, when you're on tour, there's no like, hey, let's stop and practice. But getting to play like every night or every other night, the cool thing is a band, you guys develop like a whole new level of chemistry together.
Totally.
So I think from that we got as a band tuned up quite a bit. It got a lot tighter together as players, which was a lot of fun.
On this tour, are you mentioned getting tighter? Are you writing Burnout at this point? Are songs just kind of flowing?
There were some riff ideas that came out from touring on Rusty. I think by the end of the Rusty tour, that song Responsible was done. I want to say For Better or For Worse and East on Tracks were done. So those songs were pretty much, and I can't think of the name of the song right now. There was a good solid 4 or 5 songs that were done after the Rusty tour, if I remember correctly. And then, when we got home, we would just practice and hammer out the rest of the tunes.
Yeah. What? Bring me through Burnout. Your thoughts from that time recording this record, and it sounds like you guys were, at this point, were a well-oiled machine. So what was this like? Yeah.
So by the time the writing had started, and before we went into the studio with Burnout, Dale Yob was playing guitar with us as well.
Oh yeah.
He contributed some of the writing on that record. It was nice doing some writing where to have 2 guitar players where we could work out different parts. That was
Totally.
That was a nice thing, whereas before everything was kind of written as a single guitar part song, and I tried to add like rhythm or harmonies, but it wasn't until like getting to work with like Dale and working with the second guitar player, knowing how we could gel together. And so I learned a lot from that. We went to the studio, recorded with Steve again, which I think we went in right after Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo was recorded. So we got to hear some of that album early. I think we even got to stop by A&M Studios when Steve was mixing that record. Wow. So that was impressive. Yeah. And we got to spend more time in the studio. Got to try some different gear, use different amp setups. It was neat I'm just kind of a gear nerd. From a gear perspective, just seeing, the way Steve would do stuff, the mics he would use, how he would go about producing guitars, his thought process on all of that was super informative. And again, at this time, there's doing Burnout. There's no Pro Tools. There's no automation. We're just recording directly to 2-inch magnetic tape. So and there wasn't much editing even, but if there needed to be any sort of edit, it was done with a razor blade and basically tape on a jig. So no digital on that record.
That's pretty impressive. That having to be that tight, be that, not having to, messing up, I guess. I'm sure that's probably was a challenge, but also awesome at the same time.
Oh yeah, it was very challenging. Yeah. So, but it was again a very cool experience. Getting to work with all the guys in the band and getting to work with Steve.
Yeah. What were your thoughts when this record was completed and when you heard it?
I was very excited. I think when it finally got released, I think we were back on tour again. I think we were playing at Cornerstone the day or the week that it came out.
Oh, wow.
So we got a box or two of CDs to sell at Cornerstone. I think we sold them all.
I believe it.
So I was really excited about Burnout. I thought Burnout had some really cool, just from a personal perspective, had some cool high notes on it.
Yeah, a lot of more metal influence, like you mentioned earlier, with Strung Out. I feel like this kind of came out. Maybe your, like your Striper influence and whatnot kind of came out in this.
Yeah, so it was starting to. I was a little fearful of, playing a bunch of guitar solos on these records at the time. Because, at the time, there wasn't a lot of that type of playing in this genre. So I kind of thought people maybe would think that guitar solos are stupid or whatever, or that's heavy metal. So I started just kind of like putting a little bit out there at a time just to see how it worked out. Like, the song Last on Rusty has a pretty, extended guitar solo. But yeah, I didn't want to get too into it. But, hearing bands like Strung Out and Propaganda made me feel a little bit braver about writing a little bit heavier.
Sure. Yeah. How do you feel about the record now looking back on it?
I'm super proud of it. I'm super fortunate that I got to make another record with my friends and, my brothers. As you know, Joe's my brother-in-law. Brian's my brother-in-law. I've known Jeremiah since I was young. So I got to make a cool record with my friends and I look back on it fondly. It was really cool.
That's awesome, man. I feel like this record did really well as well. I mean, I'm not talking number wise, but did you notice a substantial amount of people at shows and just kind of what was the vibe like?
Oh, the vibe was cool. It was, people were very receptive and, when people started recognizing the songs, I thought that was, extremely flattering,
Yeah, totally. What was the touring like for this?
I think it was again another 8 weeks. I think we did a tour with 90 Pound Wuss. I remember we did some festivals. I think with this tour though, it was a little bit. I did a full 8 weeks. I think the touring was getting a little difficult for me because I also had a full-time job at home, and this would have been around 98, 97, 98, right before I got married. So yeah. It was just getting a little difficult for me to keep touring like that and keep working and stuff like that. So sure.
Well, you mentioned earlier you did start writing on Wake Up Screaming, and then you wound up leaving the band. Kind of bring me through that. It sounds like
nothing to
Yeah, nothing bad, but like
Yeah.
your life was changing.
Yeah, my life was changing, and that's what it was. And we started with writing for Wake Up Screaming. I think we got Angel, Constancy. A few of the songs on there started out as kind of like we were talking about, kind of leading into some kind of metal and more riffy stuff. In its original form, like that song Alyssa and Angel and Constancy had way more of like a Van Halen-y kind of vibe. Like I was I was going through a big Van Halen phase at the time, but it also got to a point for me where I couldn't do it anymore and spend enough time that would be fair to the rest of the guys in the band.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it was time to go. And luckily they found Greg and they were able to finish up that record. And Greg is an incredible guitar player and a cool dude.
That's awesome.
And I mean, he's done great for the band. I mean, you heard the Black Album, what a good album that is. And
yeah,
he toured with the band after, and well, he recorded Wake Up Screaming with the band too. He did a great job. So after that, I just kind of sat back and watched what the band did, and it was, I was super proud of them.
Big fan. What was that like leaving the band? I know it sounds like you obviously did the right thing, made the right choice for your family, but like leaving the band, your identity, what was it? I mean, I'm Jackson from Slick Shoes, or was it off to the races? Did it not affect you whatsoever?
Well, that's just it. Like that's a little that to answer that would require a little bit more thought, but I never felt like, well, I'm Jackson from Slick Shoes. I'm just Jackson. I'm I was born naked. I'm gonna die, an old man someday. I'm just Jackson.
Sure.
So, honestly, there was times where I missed it, but I was also very busy doing some really incredible things.
Yeah, absolutely.
I bought my first house. I
huge.
Had my first. I had a daughter. I'm married to the love of my life. So while I was proud of what the band was doing, and I missed playing with my friends and stuff like that, I was also very busy. Basically,
being a father, being a husband.
Yeah, which is the most fulfilling thing that I've ever could do and have ever done.
That's awesome, man.
I'm super proud of what I did after I left the band. So
I love your answer because it's very rare. And I don't mean this as a slight to anyone that's been on the podcast, but a lot of people are like, yeah, it was difficult. This was what my image was or who I was. But I love that you just didn't even look back. I mean, you cheered from the sidelines, but your priorities were your family, and I think it's amazing. It's incredible.
Oh yeah, and I wouldn't have changed. I wouldn't go back and change any of that, just because if again, I've got an amazing wife, I've got amazing kids, and I've got a really happy life. So it was the right thing for me.
That's awesome.
So man. I didn't spend a lot of time bumming on it. But again, you miss playing and stuff, and I, like I said, missed hanging out with my guys. They're on tour, and but they're busy doing their thing too. So
totally
super happy for them. And
so you took a break for the family, and then you guys wind up reuniting. Kind of bring me through the reunion, and of course signing with Tooth and Nail again. Kind of bring me through the baby steps of that, and again signing with the label.
Yeah. Right. So it was around 2000. So I'll back up a little bit. I want to say around 2006, 2007. After Slick Shoes had kind of stopped doing things, Joe and I started playing together again, just jamming on some like heavy metal riffs and things like that. And Jeremiah started playing bass with us again. And we kind of thought this was funny. My brother Jordan was playing guitar with us. At the time, I don't think we could really find a singer to do anything, but it was mainly just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And during that time, though, a mutual friend of mine and Joe's had passed away. And they were having a benefit, kind of a memorial for him. And they asked us to play a show. And they asked Slick Shoes to play the show. And there was a number of other bands playing, which was really cool. So we ended up doing, I think, like 3 or 4, maybe 5 songs at that show. And we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, hey, this is fun. And I think we've all got the time, and we don't have to go on tour. Why don't we start playing, some more together, maybe start writing. And one of the songs off of Rotation and Frequency ended up getting written during that time. That song 2008 cool. was written right then.
That's nice.
And so, yeah. And then I think a year or two went by, and it wasn't until we played a couple shows at the Chain Reaction, which sadly is closed now. It's just kind of, reunion get-togethers, one-offs, and that was a lot of fun. And then I think around, I want to say it was around 2015, MXPX asked us to play a show with them, and I think it was for their 20th or 25th anniversary down at where was it? The Observatory in Orange County.
Oh, cool.
And that was just hugely flattering too. So we got to play with them in 5 Iron Frenzy, and we played as the four original guys, which was a lot of fun. And we got asked to do a couple more shows after that. We had Jonah Peterson, who played on Far From Nowhere, played guitar with us as well. And once we started doing, more frequent shows, a friend of ours that does sound for MXPX, I think he brought up the idea of you guys should just do a live record and try to put it out yourselves.
That's right. Yes.
So we did. We'd recorded a live record, and I think I forgot how it came up, but I think we got a call from somebody at Tooth and Nail, and they said, "Hey, I heard you got a live record, and would you guys be interested in doing, that and something else?" So we said, "Yeah," and that's awesome. Where we wound up at the with Rotation and Frequency.
Yeah, was that kind of having Tooth and Nail kind of reach back out, kind of doing it again, getting back on the horse? What was that like? It felt like home.
It was just exciting. It was, and again, it did in a lot of ways. It was, it was just, it just kind of felt full circle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So.
Well, you said Rotation and Frequency. Let's talk about that record. Yeah. For the record, I think all your records are great, but this one I absolutely love. I think it's good. So mature. So it's Slick Shoes, but it's Slick Shoes with dad Slick Shoes, like in a good way. I don't mean that wrong, not dad rock, but you know what I mean? Like it's mature, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Kind of bring me through recording this record.
Well, we were super fortunate enough, prior to, I think right around the time we signed with Tooth and Nail, we played a show and bumped into Steve Kravac backstage at one of the shows. And the idea came up of him doing the record again. So we got to put out another record for Tooth and Nail, and also get to work with Steve Kravac again. So, the writing for this record was fun. I remember playing some of the demos for my wife, and she said, "Oh, wow, it sounds like you and Joe are having fun playing together again."
Oh,
because she remembers all the old practices, where me and Joe would just sit down and jam together and things like that. And so she kind of, I think, heard some of that. And by the way, it was kind of cool. My wife got to write and did some of the writing on Rotation and Frequency as well. Awesome. The Worlds Were Mine. Yeah, my wife wrote that. She actually wrote on Rusty. She wrote a song on Rusty too called Walk Out. But so it was kind of cool, talking about full circle, working with Steve again. The 4 guys just doing a record again. My wife working on some of the lyrics for this record, and it just, again, kind of back home with my friends, with my brothers.
Yeah. What was it like when you finally heard this one recorded? Did it turn out the way you guys wanted it to?
I think for the most part, yeah. I mean, we got to put a lot more heavy metal riffs on it for sure. Yeah, so no, it was really cool. I felt like, you said mature. I felt like everybody in the band got to kind of put their personality stamp on that this record, and I thought everybody did really well. I like listening to it. I listen to it, and I'm like, wow, gosh, we got to do this. This is cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoy it.
What did you guys play any shows for this? Like CD release shows or anything? Or I know you're not touring much, but like just spot dates and
No,
stuff.
yeah, I think we did. Yeah, we did a couple, but you got to remember, right after this record came out, COVID happened.
Oh, that's right.
So it pretty much squashed shows for forever.
Yeah.
So by the time we were actually playing shows for this record, I mean, it's already been a year and a half, 2 years since
It's
the
on
record's
to the
come
next
out.
one. I know.
Yeah, yeah,
Sucks.
and that's what's funny is the writing for the new record that we're doing now started pretty much right at the end of Rotation and Frequency.
Wow.
But because of COVID, we were passing riffs and song ideas back and forth, via email.
Yeah.
We all went out and bought Macs and were recording ideas into Logic and bouncing ideas back and forth off of each other. So a lot of the writing started online.
That's
Because
awesome, man.
again, everything's locked down, and you remember the whole thing.
I do.
So
I can't forget it. It
Yeah.
it was a nightmare.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Real quick before we get into I know you kind of mentioned the new record, but playing Furnace Fest a couple years ago, what was that like? I feel like you guys had a fantastic turnout. You guys crushed it, ripped it. It was so good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was
like
a
for
lot
you
of
guys?
fun. Oh, it was super fun. I hate to say it, but the only problem I had with that show is I left town with a fever and I couldn't cancel the show.
Oh,
So I was like super. I didn't tell anybody at the time, but I was like super sick.
Oh,
When we played that night, I think I had a temperature of 101. I was taking Tylenol after Tylenol, and I was totally not feeling well. But it was a lot of fun to play. I love playing events like that. The crowd was super nice and welcoming. We saw a lot of old friends. Bumped into the guys from Dogwood. We saw an old friend, Chad. Guys I haven't seen for years. And when I say years, I mean I'm talking 1997. I haven't seen these guys since 97. So
wild.
So yeah, there was a lot of reunions.
Yeah.
And then also it was just a trip, being set, side stage, and you can hear like Snapcase playing.
I know.
It's Snapcase.
So nuts.
Yeah. Oh, it's Stretch Armstrong. Oh, it's Poison the Well.
Yeah.
And, I'm just like dying inside. I'm going, oh my gosh. It's like, it was incredible. So many good bands were playing.
That's awesome, man. Let's talk about this new record. You kind of mentioned it briefly about recording it throughout the last 5 years, 6 years. Kind of bring me through what details that you can give.
Yeah, so writing took the songs were pretty much done by, I want to say, the end of 2022, 23. There's a lot of songs. I think this album's going to have 15 songs. There's some long songs. There's some really heavy, intricate songs. I'm the most excited about this record that I have, that I've been for any of them. I think there's like 8 guitar solos on this record. Everybody's playing incredible. Joe's drums sound fantastic. Greg and Jeremiah did an amazing job. Brian's going to be starting vocals here any second. But yeah, we took our time on the record. I know for me, when I was tracking guitars, had some family things happen. My mom passed away, and then two aunts that I'm, really important to me, all passed away within 6 months of each other. But so, and then everybody's had their own things going on. You got it's not easy to drop everything and just record a record when everybody's got full-time jobs and families.
Absolutely,
and
man.
Everybody's got to keep the lights on, and so we've been doing it, but we're just about to the end, and I think this record's going to be super cool.
Dude, I can't wait.
I'm really, really, really proud of some of the stuff on this record.
The stuff you sent me sounded incredible. Super stoked for it. Do you have any I know you're waiting on the vocals and probably the mastering and the mixing and everything like that, but what are you aiming for release Why is it going to be on Tooth and Nail again? What's anything like
Yeah,
that?
yes, it's going to be on Tooth and Nail again. At least I haven't been told differently.
Sure.
But yeah, so it's going to be mixed by Heath Riplinger.
Oh, my friend Matt's
Yeah,
friends with him. My friend Matt Carter.
yeah. He mentioned that.
Yeah.
And so some of the little sound bites I sent you, which if we want, we can share a couple of them. I don't have the numbers in front of me, which one's which. But
Yeah.
yeah, so you can kind of hear mix wise what we're going for. The guitars are way heavier on this record.
That's cool.
Like I said, I'm really excited. Yeah,
Do you have a name for the record?
not yet, not yet. That's going to be coming up pretty quickly though.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you'll hear when everybody else does, but stuff will start leaking once we get a little closer.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you two really difficult questions. Favorite song and favorite record that you've been a part of?
Favorite song and favorite record that I've been a part of.
No, it's tough.
Well, I want to say I think "Last" is my favorite song. That song was kind of written about my wife. I think that song's cool in a couple ways. That it was the first time we had done like a complete sort of breakdown and changed the chord progression for a guitar solo. And so there was some complexity to that song, which I think was the start of some of the complexity we started adding in Burnout, with some of the tempo changes or maybe, different vibes that we would, musically give on Burnout. So I would say that was probably my favorite song that I've been a part of. And then as far as favorite record that I've been a part of, that one's really, really hard because there's different elements of each one that I'm proud of. And I would say I guess I'll go with Rotation for now because like you said, there was, I think, a maturity level, and I don't think anybody from a writing standpoint was afraid to just do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
I think we tried to restrain ourselves early on, kind of fit specifically into a very narrow genre. But I think, we're starting to get to the age where it doesn't really matter to us so much. Like, we're gonna just, because we're all musicians and enjoy playing and practicing and learning new things. So I think we put some of that element on Rotation and Frequency, and I think there'll be more of it on this new record.
That's awesome. What are your thoughts on the legacy and the influence of the band? You guys have been around for 30 years. You started as kids, now you're adults, and I'm sure you influenced a ton. Yeah, just kind of bring me through your thoughts on the legacy of the band.
Yeah, I don't really think about it in terms of like legacy, except for maybe all the friendships that are developed from it. The family legacy, as far as, my kids will get to hear these records. It's something I got to do again with my bros, the friendships that we've all shared and still have together now after all these years is due in part, to the band. So I look at that as part of the band's legacy, just family, friendship between all of us, and how it's kind of kept us all, around each other. We still get to see each other, the occasional weekend and spend a few hours hanging out and practicing. I think we spend almost as much time hanging out and talking as we do when we practice. So,
Awesome,
I think that's one of the legacies of the band,
Totally. Absolutely. Well, Jackson, I know you can't predict the future, but what do you think the future looks like for you?
For me, it's going to look like bedtime soon. Unless you want to, but
Same
you're
here.
thinking a long-term future. I'm
Yes.
thinking about, I've got let's see. I've got a daughter who's going to be graduating high school next year. Got another one's going into junior high. Got a daughter that's married. I'm excited about their futures. That's what the future looks like for me. I've got a good job. I've got an amazing wife. I've got wonderful children, and I just want to keep it that way. That's what I hope for my future. I think this record's going to be cool from a band standpoint. I'm looking forward to getting this record done and letting people listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty simple guy. Happy
That's awesome.
family, happy. Yeah. That's all I'm worried
amazing.
about.
Yeah, man, I love that. It's really cool to hear. I can tell in your voice just kind of how genuine you are about it, which is cool. And you're just no frills at this point. You just go out, you rip them, and do your thing, man. Which I think is so cool. Super honored.
It's a lot of fun.
Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. You're fine. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
no,
sir.
I'm just super lucky. I get to, like we talked about, I get to hang out with the guys, play music.
Yeah,
I get to come home to a rad family.
it's amazing.
Super lucky.
Well, super honored to have spent some time with you, Jackson. Really appreciate all the music you've been a part of over the years. I know it's influenced me in my life, and I know many others as well. So super honored to hear your journey and your story, and I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, listener, for tuning in again and again. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor to be on this journey with you guys, so thank you for that. If you'd like to add me on Instagram and Facebook at The Rumors Are True Cast, if you'd like to like and subscribe, you know the drill. Thanks for the likes, the messages, the subscriptions, all that stuff. It's really awesome. Super honored to have you guys. Yeah, it's really cool. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you also to Jackson Mould. Amazing conversation. So honored to have you on the podcast to hear your perspective on your journey. So thank you again to Jackson Mould. Got some incredible artists on the horizon, guys, and you know it. Nostalgia is still a heck of a drug.
The podcast is produced by Wesley Hill, artwork by Jared Chase Bowser, and music by Brian Jaron. This episode is dedicated to the memory of my dear friend, producer, and man of many talents, Brian Jaron.